loss. With the score 1-0 Saskatchewan, Joe Powell hits slot back Tony Dennis with a perfect 23-yard scoring strike.
Yeah, it was a corner route that Joe had called. We had been working on that all week in practice. He'd seen that the House were playing the inside, close down in, and he figured that would go to the corner. So, I just ran the route and he laid it up there. It was a perfect pass.
It looked almost like it was going to be a bit too high, but you reached up and got it.
Yeah, well, I got kind of slowed down there by Ken. He'd, bumped me, gave me a good bump, and then, Joe laid it up there where I was supposed to go after it, and it, it was a little bit high, but it was a great pass.
A bit later in the first quarter, Rick Goltz collected a 16-yard sack against Johnson. The 9-year pro played inspired football on Sunday.
James Walker and myself have been working all week on running some twists between him and myself, where instead of us both going on field, one comes under, the other comes around, something to confuse alignment. And we kind of figured that with some young guys in there, they might have trouble picking it up. So in that particular one, James comes down hard inside, and I come around outside. And they both kind of got hung up with James, and I came free. And the quarterback, Rick, took off to run, and I was there. So, it worked out good. James held up the two linemen. There was no one to block me.
If everybody was really impressed with Calgary in their opener against Edmonton, even though they lost, they have to be impressed with you guys.
Oh, God, I hope so. Because the feeling around this place in the last week or so has really, improved with the addition of a few players. Nick Hebler and Greg Holmes and James Walker and stuff. It's, we've come from sort of being a team that looks, well, maybe, to a team that looks, hey, we can do it. And we're getting some more confidence here. And I know Calgary came in here fired up, but we can fire up too.
Last play of the first quarter, Fran McDermott caught Rick Johnson a halfback blitz, resulting in a 7-yard loss. Going into the second quarter, Saskatchewan led 8-0. Glenn Suter looks like he's ready to play football a bit more physically. He jars Stamp receiver Ray Alexander with a good hit, then recovers the fumble.
Well, what it was, we had a cover 4 where I go to the flat. I come up from the safety spot, and we kind of switch. Eddie Ray and I switch responsibilities to give him a little bit different look and show him a blitz, like we're blitzing, and then come out of it and play zone. And I had the flat responsibility, and Emmanuel Tolbert was in the slot at the time. So I just hung on him a little bit longer. I saw Johnson look at him, and then I had to get to the flat, and I was a little late getting out there, and I just sprinted out there, and he was just standing there, so I pretty well had a full run. It was just my responsibility, and he was just standing there, so I just put him down and gave him a shot. And then the ball was right on the ground, and I just picked it up, and I heard Mike Magruder, but I couldn't get my hands loose because he was outside. He said he had nothing but running room, but it worked out all right.
With the score 11-0 Saskatchewan, Eddie Ray Walker came up with a big interception deep in Rider territory. Walker collided heavily with teammate Gary Moten, but still managed to hang on to the ball. Calgary got the ball back shortly afterwards, and the second quarter ended with this 11-yard Emmanuel Tolbert reception for a major. Halftime score read Saskatchewan 11, Calgary 8. Early in the third quarter, the biggest play of the game likely was this Gary Moten interception for the Riders on the Calgary 15-yard line.
We had a blitz from my halfback, and I have coverage on the back, so my back blocked, so that frees me up to look around, and I happened to see Emmanuel come across the middle, and the pressure that was given on Johnson forced him to throw the ball right to me.
On next play, running back Bobby Johnson makes a great move on Stampeder DB Ken Miller and scores from 7 yards out.
Bill had called an audible to a toss 69, and we had some real good blocking on that play, and I stepped like I was going to cut back to the inside, and the DB went for that move, and I just kind of walked around the corner to the end zone.
It's been a long time since the fans of this football team have seen a running back get around the corner the way you were today. What was the difference, do you think?
What was the difference? I think the difference was, I guess the line was really prepared for it, and they did a really good job blocking.
With the score 21-11 Saskatchewan in the fourth quarter, Rick Johnson hits Emmanuel Tolbert with a 36-yard strike, and a roughing penalty to Eddie Ray Walker gave Calgary the ball on the Rider 22-yard line. 2 plays later, Trent Bryant uses one hand to intercept Rick Johnson. The interception couldn't have come at a better time.
I knew when Rick or to his left that he always throws out route, and the receiver, he really never really pushed you upfield. He kind of lines up tight inside, so I knew he was going to run out, but I didn't know if he was going to throw the ball or what. But the ball hit my arm, and then when I saw the ball hit my arm and somebody in front of my hands, I grabbed it, and I couldn't believe it. We really need this win from our best of the town, and everybody's been come down on us, come 2 preseason games. we played, and we really wanted to play together for once. To me, since the first two preseason games, and everything worked out nice.
2:50 left in the ball game. J.T. Hay connected on a 27-yard field goal to narrow the Saskatchewan lead to 21-14. But the Riders ate up all but 3 seconds of the clock with a 10-play, 75-yard march, which included 9 running plays, 8 of them in a row. Bobby Johnson carried the ball on 7 occasions during the march, the offensive line controlling the Calgary defense.
With that last drive, that's exactly what you need to do, and that's what everybody'd love to do. We'd like to run the ball a lot more here if we could, and I think we proved a little bit that we can.
I know you were pretty excited, maybe a little bit nervous about this, your first start, but it seemed to go pretty well.
Definitely nervous about it. After watching that game many, many times last week that this Calgary defense had played, once again, my first start, I was pretty nervous, and things worked out fairly well. I'll take a look at the films and get a better analysis of it, but I'm pretty happy with it.
The longest run of that final drive was this 24-yard effort by Bobby Johnson.
It was a 64 play to the right, and I thought I was going to go all the way on that, but DB happened to slip in there and trip me up.
It all ended with this 1-yard Johnson run. The blocking was superb as Johnson literally walked in. The Rider running game killed the clock and the Stampeders. The final, Saskatchewan 28, Calgary 14.
We knew that we had to control the ball at that point, and everyone really put their heads together, and we worked, as a team right there, and I was carrying the ball, I guess, the majority of the time, but it was a total team effort there at the end of the game.
Our guys have worked hard, and I think that the players recognize that when you do work hard, and you do expend that extra effort and energies and everything, and time, and these guys are around you all the time working hard, that it does pay off.
Well, the rush wasn't there in preseason, but it was certainly there today.
Yeah, I think that the other thing is that in preseason is one thing, and you don't want to show all your cards in the preseason. We knew that we had some good football players, and now, of course, that we got to expose everything that we got to every week now. But, no, we got some athletes, and also to think that we've got a guy like Hebler that hasn't played for us, and he's healthy. That's another plus.